Hello everyone, happy Easter if I haven't seen you already. I hope you're having a wonderful time as we celebrate Jesus' resurrection and all that brings as it changes the universe. This event in history that has changed time and changed everything forever. I've come out this morning to the Christchurch Gardens. It's a little bit chilly, but I wanted to come out because I love the image of the garden from the accounts that we see in the Gospels of Jesus' tomb being in the garden tomb, and particularly in John's Gospel where Mary meets Jesus in the garden and originally thinks that he is the gardener. Christchurch Gardens is a beautiful space, and more than just Jesus in the tomb coming out into the garden, I love the image of creation, all of creation, as being God's garden, and he invites us to join him being gardeners. That as Jesus was the first fruit of new creation, the promise and the first sign that all things are being made new, that God invites us to join with him in making all things new, in bringing the kingdom here, that we can be gardeners, beautifying and redeeming and working with him in restoring and renewing all things. And so hopefully in that beautiful thought, I wanted to share with you a poem that I've come across in, it's just a book of poems we got from the National Trust. We are those people. I like the idea of poetry and I enjoy it when I come to it, but I probably wouldn't say that I know a lot of poetry, but this one really took me. It's by Rudyard Kipling, and it calls it The Glory of the Garden. And I love it because it feels to me like I read this and it is about a garden, but I think it's also maybe about the church and about the mission that God calls us to as Jesus people, to join with him in redeeming and in making beautiful all of the things that he has made and that he has renewed and restoring to himself through Jesus. So this is The Glory of the Garden by Rudyard Kipling. Our England is a garden that is full of stately views, of borders, beds and shrubberies and lawns and avenues, with statues on the terraces and peacocks strutting by. But the glory of the garden lies in more than meets the eye. For where the old thick laurels grow along the thin red wall, you find the tool and potting sheds which are the heart of all. The cold frames and the hothouses, the dung pits and the tanks, the rollers, carts and drain pipes with the barrows and the planks. And there you'll see the gardeners, the men and prentice boys, told off to do as they are bid and do it without noise. For except when seeds are planted and we shout to scare the birds, the glory of the garden, it abideth not in words. And some can pot begonias, and some can bud a rose, and some are hardly fit to trust with anything that grows. But they can roll and trim the lawns and sift the sand and loam, for the glory of the garden occupieth all who come. Our England is a garden, and such gardens are not made by singing, "Oh, how beautiful," and sitting in the shade, while better men than we go out to work and start their working lives, at grubbing weeds from gravel paths with broken dinner knives. There's not a pair of legs so thin, there's not a head so thick, there's not a hand so weak and white, nor yet a heart so sick, but it can find some needful job that's crying to be done. For the glory of the garden glorifieth everyone. Then seek your job with thankfulness, and work till further orders, if it's only netting strawberries or killing slugs in borders. And when your back stops aching and your hands begin to harden, you'll find yourself a partner in the glory of the garden. Oh, Adam was a gardener, and God who made him sees that half a proper gardener's work is done upon his knees. So when your work is finished, you can wash your hands and pray for the glory of the garden, that it may not pass away. And the glory of the garden is, it shall never pass away. I love the playfulness in that poem. I love how he makes a point that some people are no good at the technical stuff, and I would put myself in that. I am an enthusiastic amateur, but I am not gifted in the garden, but I love it. And this is where I kind of think it speaks a lot about the church, that there's something here for everyone to do. Everyone has got something to contribute, and that as we put our hand to it, as we get down and do half of our work on our knees in prayer, as we do the little things, that we are participating in building the beauty and the wonder of the garden. Doing that with the head gardener himself, who steps out of the tomb and steps into creation to rebuild, to renew, to restore. And so I encourage you to enjoy the beauty of the garden, whether that's in your own garden or down here at Christ Church. And as we work together in the kingdom, let's be praying for the glory of God's garden and looking for the buds and the new growth as we move into this new season. God bless.